Hey, Ren. So I'm going to share with you here a prediction here on the week 13, 2024. What games do I think will be the feature national games? For the Fox Single, the feature game. Yes, there's a feature early window game, and there's a feature late window game. If your game is on the CBS, in the CBS early window, if your team is playing the CBS early window, and you're in the immediate area of that, not the Sunday area of that team, or in the Sunday area, it's typically just like the immediate TV market where where the games have to be simulcast, and they typically will get a late game regardless if it's a game relevant to them or not. Typically. But my prediction is that in the CBS early, I could see being Pittsburgh at Cincinnati just because of Joe Burrow. But I don't see that being the case. I actually see it being Chargers at Atlanta. Atlanta has been struggling the last couple weeks, but maybe their bye week, is actually something good, and they can take some positive momentum into the bye. Or maybe out of the bye. They don't know if they took any positive momentum into the bye, but out of the bye, can they take some positive momentum out of it and actually play better? We'll see. But I could see that being the featured national game. Obviously, you got Philadelphia, Baltimore. I see it being Arizona and Minnesota in the Fox window. I don't see Seattle 6-5. And my Jets are 3-8, and my Jets are not playing that well. Houston is 7-5. They've been actually struggling kind of a little bit. Having a few losses lately. And Jacksonville is 2-9, I want to believe. I want to say. Jacksonville is not looking great at all. LA Rams 5-6. New Orleans 4-7. And Tampa Bay Carolina is 3-8. While Tampa Bay is 5-6. I think, and it's going to be Arizona, Minnesota, because, Minnesota, for one, is 9-2, leading the NFC wildcard race. The only reason why they're leading the NFC wildcard race is because the Detroit Lions have the division lead at 10-1 in the NFC North. But honestly, I think it should be where it's the top 7 teams, regardless of division. Regardless of division, make it. And the top 4, regardless of division, there should be I'm not qualifiers for division. There shouldn't be, but some best teams in the playoffs, I think. But whatever. And then I'm gonna talk about my predictions on Fox games. Did I already mention them? If so, I'm gonna redo them because there's been some changes here in the flexes. Well, both Monday nights, they always wait till the Sunday day, the day of the Sunday games. They said the flex. So which day is that for week 13? So week 15. They have until December 3rd and 12 days after. That would be next week, Tuesday. So they have 8 days. So they would have 8 full days. And they will announce on the 9th day. And it's probably going to be Miami at Houston. I would think the NFL might want to protect Buffalo Detroit. I could see being Denver being flexed in, but actually no, Denver can't be flexed in because Denver is playing Week 16 Thursday night football, so they will not be flexed in on Monday night. So it's Miami and Houston. Miami's been playing well, and if Houston is still in the NFC or in the AFC South, the division leader, and fighting for it. Miami is fighting for an AFC wildcard spot. I could see that definitely being one of the Monday night games, whether it's on ABC or ESPN. And I see Las Vegas Atlanta is flexing themselves out of it a little bit. And that's because of the fact that Atlanta is lost a couple in a row. Las Vegas is, the main reason would be Las Vegas flexing themselves out of it. They're 2-9. I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually purely eliminated actually from mathematical contention from being actually in the playoff race. So obviously if they get down that point where they pretty much are going to be mathematically eliminated. So the NFL is just waiting for that 12-day flex window to flex them out. Chicago has lost 4 straight now. They lost to Washington Commanders, then they lost to Arizona, New England, Minnesota now. They lost, so I could see. I mean, maybe that game was a good game, but I could definitely totally see being flexed out. If Chicago loses to Detroit, and then they lose, they play week 14. Chicago plays San Francisco, which, I mean, still, even if they're 5-8, it could be 5-8 games, possibly 11-2. If Minnesota wins their game against Atlanta and Arizona, their game, which could actually happen because Arizona's offense not played super well, and Atlanta has not been playing super well. So 11-2 could be really likely. Chicago could be 5-7, or 5-8 actually. 5-8. Even if Brock Purdy was not playing, or if Brock Purdy is playing that game, it could be 4-9. Ouch. So even if they're 5-8, they're playing 11-2 Minnesota team. I just don't see it. In Las Vegas, yeah. So let's see Miami, Houston, Buffalo, Detroit. It could be, but sometimes they might want one prime early window game or late window game. Excuse me. Sometimes they do, and you got Buffalo, Detroit being one. I could see being Washington, New Orleans. If Washington keeps on a little bit of a run, and New Orleans gets on run enough to be like relevant in like the NFC South playoff picture. If New Orleans does, they become relevant enough to be in the NFC South, like I said, NFC South playoff picture. If Washington still stays in the hunt, for an NFC wildcard spot, maybe Washington flexes that in. Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. I could see Pittsburgh at Philadelphia being flexed in. Pittsburgh is 8-3. That's a pretty good candidate too. Pittsburgh is 8-3. Philadelphia is 9-2. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia both have winnable games. Pittsburgh plays Cincinnati. Well, Philadelphia, has a winnable game, but it's gonna be a tough winnable game against Baltimore. And then you got that Tampa Bay is in the hunt for an NFC South playoff picture. So maybe Tampa Bay could get flexed in that game against the LA Chargers. They could flex themselves in. But Buffalo, Detroit seems like an obvious choice to be flexed in. The best two I would see would be Buffalo, Detroit, or Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. I see that. That would be actually the two best ones, in my opinion. Those two. You could have Washington. I don't know about Washington Orange. Maybe Washington Orange, Tampa Bay LA Chargers, or Miami Houston. Maybe, I don't know though. because there's two good games on CBS and Fox, both at the late window. There's two good games. Yeah. So we'll see though. But it could be you could get maybe Houston would not be a horrible one. Horrible option though. They pick that one. Tampa Bay Lakers could be another one. Washington Ones. I don't know. Maybe not. But I could see. But I think it's, yeah. Probably Buffalo, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. But if like either the TV networks really want them on their games in the late window, really want them on, both on in the late window, really want both on the late window, then maybe I could see TV networks and maybe or the NFL with both on the late window. And I could see that. But I could also see, so then maybe it could be Tampa Bay Chargers and maybe Houston. I could see that. So, and then we got week 16. Tampa Bay, Dallas. If Dallas flexes themselves out of that game, which they might, that game might be flexed out. And that game they would have till the 10th of December. Again, which is another Tuesday. 10th of December is, so they could flex themselves out of that game. I mean, so then you'd have maybe Tennessee, maybe Tampa Bay, Dallas. Maybe you have Tennessee at Indiana. I don't know. The only one I could see really being flexed is Tampa Bay, Dallas, San Francisco, and Miami. That could be flexing from CBS late to Sunday night. And then maybe a Philadelphia, Washington flexed in. That could be flexed in. Or I could see a dark horse flex, Minnesota, Seattle, in the late window, being flexed into Sunday night too. I mean, you could have New Orleans, if New Orleans gets flexed out of Monday night against their game against Green Bay gets flexed out, then you probably have Minnesota, Seattle, Philadelphia, Washington, or San Francisco, Miami. Two of those, I could see you know what I'm saying? I could see 3 games being flexed in that slot, so we'll see how that. We'll see. But there's a good 3 games in this slot. In this slot right here, NFL Network. I wonder when they're doing these, saying the NFL Network Saturday games. They have to decide them pretty soon, but right now, I think it's going to be the best games that look the best right now are Arizona LA Rams for the NFC West Division crown. We have Atlanta Washington that looks pretty solid. I mean, Atlanta could still be in the NFC South playoff picture. And Washington, even though despite struggling, they could still be in the shot, not in a shot for an NFC wildcard. And Atlanta could be in an NFC South title picture, or maybe in the NFC playoff picture for the 7th seed. If Washington gives up a little bit, which they are a little bit. And if, but that would require Atlanta to maybe give up their division lead, which they could, you never know. We'll see, so. And then it could be Denver, Cincinnati. But, you have LA Chargers at New England, which you have Indianapolis at Giants, which I don't think it's going to be Indianapolis at my Giant. But Miami at Cleveland in that Sunday. Cleveland, they flexed Cleveland at Cincinnati out of Cincinnati out of Thursday night. The first ever Thursday night flex. So I wonder if they're gonna flex. They have to flex something at Cleveland. But then Dallas will probably flex out of the 4:25 Eastern window. Dallas most likely will be. They're not going to have Dallas be nationally televised Fox late game, right? And guess what? CBS single, there's only 3 games. And you could have it where, where there's no late window game. Where there's actually no late window game on the CBS single. And the nationally televised game at the 4:25 Eastern window, that's the only game on in the NFL at that time, can't beat Green Bay. It can't beat Dallas at Philadelphia, can it? No. The NFL's not going to want that. So Green Bay, Minnesota might go for Fox late. But then again, I don't know. This could be something where CBS single in the early window and late window for Fox is just like, no. Maybe, they could just say that. But I think that Seattle at Chicago might be flexed out. Yeah, depending on what Chicago does. They have still 28 days. They have a 28-day flex window for the game that's on the 26th. But if they base it off the 26th, the start of the game. So that would be. So they'd have to be to the 29th of November. So they have till the 28th, which Seattle at Chicago could be flexed out. And if the Seattle at Chicago is flexed out on Thursday, because they're two best games a week, or on Netflix for Christmas days, but the Christmas Day games, and then you have Seattle Chicago could be flexed out and go to one of the networks. But then what game would you replace with? Maybe Green Bay at Minnesota. It's Detroit San Francisco is a really good one that could be. Detroit could lock up the NFC North with that game, and San Francisco could be fighting for like an NFC wildcard, depending on 7th spot, or fighting for the NFC West title, possibly with Brock Purdy. So you could have it where Green Bay at Minnesota's in. The Green Bay at Minnesota could be Sunday Night Football nightcap. You could have where Green Bay at Minnesota is in the Sunday night nightcap. You could have it to where you could have it to where Arizona LA Rams is either on Thursday night or on Sunday night. You could have it to where that is. You could have it to where Atlanta Washington is on Thursday night or Sunday night as well. And then I leave Denver Cincinnati, LA Chargers New England, Indianapolis NY Giants on the Saturday games by default. You could have it like that. And then if the NFL wants, if like Fox or like the NFL in general wants one good game in the Sunday afternoon window, then it's going to be Green Bay at Minnesota in the nationally televised window on Fox. and then you might have Miami at Cleveland, move to CBS signal, and then that'd be at the 1 Eastern window, and then you'd have say Chicago move to the Fox early window, and yeah, so you'd have, and then Dallas to Philadelphia is probably moved to the Fox early window, Green Bay Minnesota moved to the Fox late window, and that'll be the nationally televised game across the whole NFL for the 4:25 Eastern window. So, which could be the case. So, it's going to be very interesting how they do that one, how they do that flex. Because I've seen the Saturday games happen, but sometimes there's like some, not like, maybe not like prime, but this is interesting because you have Christmas. It's like, because it's Christmas also too. That's the thing. You know, you can't see Pittsburgh and you have Baltimore, Houston. It could be like Sunday. You could just, instead of Christmas Day games, you could have them be like Thursday night, Sunday night, and be okay. But now you're really stuck, especially when you have Saturday games. But the Saturday games by default could just be left out. You know, it could be just Denver Cincinnati, LA Chargers, Indianapolis, and my Giants, and then Arizona LA Rams moves to one of them in Atlanta, Washington. One of them moved to Thursday. One of them moved to Sunday night. And then Green Bay, Minnesota moves to the Fox early. The Fox late window, or Green Bay, Minnesota moves to like the Thursday night or the Sunday night game. I don't think Minnesota's already played in a Thursday night, so as they could play in another Thursday night, but or they might have that be a Sunday night. We'll see. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting how they roll with that, though. It's gonna be very interesting. So, but when the time comes, I guess we'll know. You know, we have to know soon by 28th of 28th, probably like the 28th, 30th in that range for the Saturday night, and that could be a little bit teased into like the Saturday games as well. Decide who they what gets, if a Saturday game gets flexed. You know, maybe Seattle, Chicago, and Atlanta, Washington. You know, switch your Arizona LA Rams. They Seattle, Chicago was a Sunday, and then Arizona LA Rams or Atlanta, Washington move to Thursday night. They'll decide, which one is more suiting. So we'll see. So it's interesting, very interesting how that works. I'm gonna be very intrigued to see how that goes.